Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Damn, I can't say it. Hold on, let me start again.
Fucking say it right, eh?
All right, man. Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast, SA. Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host, Neil.
I'm Neil, and I can't introduce the show like you just did, because
That's my co-host, Little Puppet.
I'm a little too pale for that. Speaking of someone who's too pale for that, Dave, not here.
Nope, Dave is not here. He may be back next week, so yeah. So
cheers,
we're
Dave.
Washing off the remains of High School Movie Month and jumping into our annual Remake Month, and whew, it could be rough. We are starting with the Omen, the 2006 version of the Omen, and yeah, we'll be talking about that one.
I'm hoping Remake Month is like the last poo I just had. Didn't start off smooth, but it sure ended that way. So hopefully this will get better as we go.
As we go, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a horrible movie, not a great movie.
It's not necessary. I mean, but we'll get into that. But, you know, let's do what we always do. Neil, what did you watch this week?
You know, my wife really had a Jones to watch some Harry Potter flicks.
Mm-hmm.
So what she did was she decorated the living room with like the whole floating candle thing, and then had like wall hangings that look like an old library in a castle. And then for like 3 nights, we watched a different Harry Potter movie.
Wow! So did you go through the whole series?
No, we just watched the first 3. Yeah, we took the couch out because we got a sleeper sofa. We took the couch out, laid it out, made it a bed. We're all kind of hanging out right there. We're eating snacks and shit. And yeah, I didn't make it through the whole movie. I'm sorry. Once I go horizontal, I'm out.
I feel like the first 3 are the roughest because the kids are terrible actors. They hadn't really grown into like being believable actors. Once you get to the 4th one, I think they start getting better, which I think it was Goblet of Fire. Is that the 4th one?
Yeah. Prisoner. Was it Prisoner?
Sorcerer's Stone.
Sorcerer's Stone. The Thingy McThing. And then the Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban, and Goblet of Fire.
And then Prince of Persia. And then Where the Wild Things Are was one of those. So I don't.
But they get better and they get a little more believable. And I think that whatever the one where Voldemort really shows up and him and Dumbledore fight, you know, that one's pretty good. Is that the Order of the Phoenix? I think it is Order of the Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have not read any of the books. So I have absolutely no knowledge of like the lore and stuff like that. I've only seen the movies, and they vary widely in quality. Like, I think the further you get, the better. I think that the Deathly Hallows Part 1, you could not need to watch that one. Just watch Deathly Hallows Part 2 and you're good. And the shit goes down Hogwarts, you know.
You've thought about this way too hard. Yeah, we did I think I did the first maybe 5 books on audio with the kid, just, you know, driving back and forth. The other ones, I don't know if he actually read those or not, but we did them for a while. So there we have it. And since this is Memorial Day weekend, had the day off, and we just hung out and, like, you know, here's what I like about 3-day weekends. As a grown-up, like, kids are always jazzed for the weekend. Okay, fuck you, kids. As a grown-up, you really have one day to relax, and you got another day to, like, do all your damn chores and get your groceries bought and all the other shit that you got to do. This was great because we had 2 days of just relaxing, and then today I just did laundry, folded clothes. We put on some a series called Evil about this investigator for the Catholic Church, and it's got a very complicated story. Like they're tying things in. They're like on episode 13, and they're tying in things from episode 2. And just had that on all day.
Does it have to do with the devil at all?
But just it may, if it's called Evil, and the guy is from the Catholic Church trying to become a priest.
That is kind of the zone I'm in right now. I'm enjoying, movies about the devil.
Oh, I love movies about the devil. You know what I like more than movies about the devil? I like my music to be about the devil.
Mm.
That's when you know you're getting into some good stuff.
All right, so I had to go look it up. It's Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and then the Deathly Hallows. So I would have not been able to go through the rest of the podcast without looking it up because that kind of stuff bugs me.
It bugs you.
I don't know
If you want to see some of what Sammy did, she posted it on Facebook. I know you and her are friends on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to check it out.
You didn't like her post, you son of a bitch.
I must have missed it.
Sure you did. You weren't even looking. You weren't even trying. Magic's gone, bastard. All right, let's hear it. How many did you watch it? If you watched the making of this movie, I've lost so much respect for you.
Well, I didn't watch making of the remake. I watched the making of the original, and having watched this one the next day, my wife and I, Jamie, we watched the original Omen, and then we watched Damien the Omen 2. Hopefully, the end of this week we'll be able to watch the final conflict, so she can get the full. What
about 4? I mean, yeah, to get the whole full experience. I agree with you. After you said you were doing that, I stayed up and I watched maybe the first half of the original Omen. So good. Mm-hmm. But I thought I saw an Omen 4.
There is an Omen 4, which was made for TV. It's part of the box set I have, but I've never watched it and I never will. But I have heard good things about the first Omen that just came out this year, that it is surprisingly freaky and kind of scary. It's like the prequel where they find out who Damien's mother was, or how Damien's mother, how, I don't know how because mom was a jackal, but they don't really, but it's some sort of like Catholic satanic conspiracy thing going on. And I heard it's pretty disturbing. So I think it's on demand, I think.
I just don't want to hear his mom go, "I'm a lumberjacker, baby. Run. I'm going to turn you down to size."
What was that one song about your love raining down on me? And it's like a golden shower metaphor song by Jackal.
I don't know. I don't know. When I was working at the radio station in Albuquerque, we used to call him Jokel. All right, we're going to play a song from Jokel. And then the station manager would get pissed off because they were getting cash to try to push those songs.
Yeah, Jackal was a terrible group from the 80s. I have to look them up.
Oh,
Jackal.
Check this out. Look at this. Look at this, what I just got on my phone. Look at that. Oh, are you ready for more Spanish? You know who's not ready for Spanish? The person I was doing Spanish with. I'm doing a podcast with.
Jackal Chainsaw Song. So that came out, the Lumberjack song by Jackal. That is a terrible song. 1992.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was in Albuquerque.
That's later than I remember. I thought it was like a hair metal 80s song. It's fucking terrible.
Yes. Speaking of mediocre to not terrible, let's talk about the Omen 2006.
Well, I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about watching the original Omen, and then I watched Damien the Omen 2, which I love, and the final conflict, which I'll eventually watch. But then I also watched Jaws 2 again today for some reason. I came home from work, I was tired, and I fell asleep for like the first 45 minutes of Jaws 2, and then I watched the end. I'm just, for some reason, Jaws 2 has been on like Encore or something, and I've been catching the end of it, and it is so dumb. And
if it's not Michael Caine in Jaws 4, I'm not even concerned.
Yeah, we maybe need to do Jaws 2 and Jaws 3 and 4. 3 was awful with the 3D.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really bad. But
Michael Caine, one of the greatest lines in all of cinematic history in that movie. So good.
Have you seen your performance in Jaws 4?
But I've seen the house that it bought.
So, yes, let's talk about the Omen from 2006. you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline there?
An American official realizes that his young son may literally be the devil incarnate. It's not going to be the devil incarnate. It's going to be the devil's son, you stupid
The son
ass.
of the devil, yes.
It's going to be the Antichrist. IMDb.
Let's stop real quick before we move on. Hey, we're going to be guests on another podcast this week.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah. I was actually just thinking about that. Yeah. Please elucidate.
Well, the Sisters have seen it. Sisters Who Seen It is a fun podcast where two sisters talks about movies, and we've been a guest, and Katie has been a guest on our podcast a long time ago. Listen to the Pet Cemetery podcast if you're interested in hearing her come on. But we decided that she asked us kindly enough to ask us if we wanted to be on the Conan the Barbarian podcast, and of course we jumped on it and said, hell yeah. So I think it should be out on Wednesday, the May 29th, I think.
Wednesday, May 29th. Okay. And do you know why they asked us to be on that particular episode, my good sir? Because Conan the Barbarian is the greatest damn movie that's ever been made.
I was going to say, because we are renowned Conan the Barbarian movieologists.
I'll own it. I'll take it.
We're SMEs when it comes to Conan the Barbarian.
I hate that term. I really do. It gets thrown around. Well, who's our SME? It sounds like Captain Hook's buddy, Smee.
Shmee, yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
You know, another, we do a lot of leadership kind of training at my job, and this one person had the audacity to put that they are a thought leader in their description of their, influencer thought leader. That is some pretentious bullshit right there to say you're a thought leader.
What the fuck is a thought leader?
It's just some made up word.
Is it four thought leaders will make a regular thought English
thought
gallon? Like what?
No, thought leader.
Thought leader.
Yeah.
Or maybe
who is the thought leader? Damien.
No, I think if you got a thought leader, maybe that's some chick in the hood. She's rounding up all the other thoughts, and they're going to start a little.
Oh yeah, she's the leader of the thoughts. Yeah.
Yes, they're going to hit you all with ratchets. I'm going to try to pull as many of those things as I can. Nobody.
But yes, the Omen, 2006. Let's give our first impressions. Neil, first impression.
Why?
Yeah,
that was my first impression. Why? Liv Schreiber, he just has a hard time playing a likable guy, even when he's being just as fucking stupid as he was in this movie. And I we're going to take it a different direction. We're not going to pull the wool over their eyes. We're going to make Dad culpable for fucking this up because he's not going to say anything. The one standout for this movie for me was, I like the story. I like the original, like where it goes. Mia Farrow was creepy as hell.
Yeah, she was the best part of the movie, surprisingly.
She was so good.
Surprised me that she was so good in this. Yeah,
we haven't even talked about this, and we're both right in the same vein.
Yeah.
Mia Farrow was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she wasn't as directly or outwardly evil as the lady who played Mrs. Baylock in the original. You see her and you're like, why are you hiring her? She is just evil, you could tell, where Mia Farrow is a little more subtly evil at the beginning. She's kind of insinuates herself into the family and you kind of trust her a little bit, She's a little more trusting that you would say, okay, be the nanny. Yeah. You know who would have been a good nanny? Fran Drescher would have been good in this movie.
He likes
Damien.
He likes the dog, Mr. Thorne. The dog will protect him, Mr. Thorne.
I'm here to protect thee, little one.
He's charging at her with the car, and she's holding up a lawn jockey going, I could hear that. Man, why does Fran Drescher's laugh and Peter Griffin kind of hit on the same note?
They are kind of the same. Fran Drescher gets a lifetime pass for being in This Is Spinal Tap as Bobby Fleckman, the kind of the lady who organizes the parties and other stuff for Spinal Tap. Bobby Fleckman. Back to the Omen. My first impressions is completely unnecessary. It doesn't look terrible. It looked like they put some money behind it. The cinematography is decent. The the sets and everything are pretty good, but just okay. I mentioned this in a text to each other. The color grading on this movie was ridiculous. They turned up the blue gray color grading in post production to like 20. It wasn't just a little subtle. Everything was just super grim, dark looking. Where in the original, it was much more natural. The lighting was much more natural and foreboding at the same time, but didn't like beat us over the head with the atmosphere.
You know it's going to be spooky. Everything's gone blue.
Yeah,
spooky
super
equal blue.
Mm-hmm. So this movie was directed by John Moore, and I included his filmography. I've never heard of him before.
I could have used less of him on this movie.
Yeah. He directed Behind Enemy Lines and A Good Day to Die Hard, and he's an Irish director who was started in commercials. So that's why everything looks so slick.
I thought that was a Cialis commercial. Good Day to Die Hard. I gotcha.
So he directed Behind Enemy Lines, Flight of the Phoenix, The Omen, Max Payne, which I've never seen, A Good Day to Die Hard, and a movie called IT. Not It, IT, with Pierce Brosnan and Anna Friel. And I've never even heard of it. That came out in 2016.
Gosh, we missed it.
It's been a while since he's directed a movie. The funny thing about this movie is a screenwriter named Dan McDermott was attached to write the movie, and he wrote the movie. I'm giving air quotes if you could see me, air quotes, and submitted it to the Writers Guild. Said this movie is so similar to the original Omen that we're going to give David Seltzer credit for writing the movie because it's almost like the Psycho remake. There, it is barely any different than the original movie. Just
minor changes.
I
will say, watching. Oh my God, what was this? Good Lord. Thules, his character. Oh, please, who? Why can't I think of it?
Ray Donovan?
Keith Jennings. Keith.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Him getting his head taken off by the swinging metal thing. This is the problem with having watched the Harry Potter thing. All I could think of was Professor Lupin.
Yeah, I know David Thulin to get his head off. Yeah, Professor Lupin. Yeah,
and you because you know that's going to happen because that's what happened in the other one. And it's like, okay, at some point he's getting his head taken off. His head's coming off. How are they going to take the head off? A little cheesy.
Yeah. Definitely not as shocking as the original where the pane of glass shoots across and they shoot it from different angles. You see the head rolling up in the air. It's an obvious dummy head, but it's still awesome. This one was a little more bloody, but just didn't have that kind of impact, no pun intended, that the other one did. But
I think
let's talk.
Do you think that maybe we're a bit jaded by the whole Rube Goldberg way that Satan wants to kill everybody, that Satan just doesn't send somebody out for you. You got to have like this crazy random ass chain of events to take somebody out. Okay. So this guy's actually he's going to walk with some stuff. He's going to knock a stone out from underneath the truck. The truck's going to roll. Crazy ass homeless guy is going to throw a cigarette down. It's going to hit the car. It's going to fill with gasoline. This guy, for some reason, can't figure out that there's another door he could get out of or how to roll up his window. And then, boom, there we go.
Yeah, it was very derivative of Final Destination, where in the first movie, it seemed like there was a little bit of plausibility that everything was just freaky accidents and none of this was really natural compared to this one where it's obviously supernatural. There's no getting around it. Where in the beginning, you could think, and we're really jumping ahead here, that little Damien, the original Damien, was just a bratty kid, and all this weird shit was happening around him, and he was just a bratty kid. But this one, the kid, and I don't want to dog on this little kid's Seamus Davy Fitzpatrick is Damien Thorne. He's a little kid, so you really can't blame him for acting because he's just going to do what the director tells him. But the director gave him constant look like you're about to poop, look like you need to go poop, scowl like you need to go poop.
So I think this director needs to make the Omen 2 and Damien
Omen number 2.
Yes. Oh, very good. That Damien gets his driver's license and he just drives a logging truck around the Pacific Northwest and waits to hit the brakes and have giant chunks of wood go shooting into people's cars.
Yeah. Oh my God, we have not done a Final Destination movie yet.
Maybe
we need to remedy that. Yeah, we need to remedy that. Because some movies are so stupid yet so entertaining at the same time.
Well, because you're just waiting. How are they going to get off? How are they going to get off?
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important part of the movie.
We didn't vary enough in this one. It's come on. Like, oh, Damien, okay. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rewrite the Omen. Okay, follow me, guys. But guess what? I'm going to update it. Instead of a tricycle, follow me here. You're never going to believe it. I'm going to put Damien on a scooter. People will never see it coming. People will never see it coming. We're going to just be raking in the money.
That's what kids are writing these days, huh?
No one will ever know the difference. No one will ever know the difference. Guess what? Instead of a jackal, Pomeranian. They'll never know.
Well, if we did one remake for 2024, it would be Damien would be distracted by his like iPad or his phone, and they just bump into mom, and mom would fall off the ledge.
He's doing a TikTok dance, and he starts swinging his arms around.
Yeah, exactly.
It takes her off the ladder.
Mommy, do this TikTok dance with me, and knocks her off.
Down she goes.
Oh my, skibbity, mom, skibbity.
Skibbity toilet. Wow, we have teenage children.
So one of the biggest gripes for me is that they didn't use the music from Jerry Goldsmith. The Jerry Goldsmith music makes the original Omen. In fact, I just bought
Chef's Kiss. Wow.
I bought on vinyl, a blood red vinyl pressing of the Omen soundtrack with the 666 on in the
you got that
center.
You get that a bit back. I remember you sending me that.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So, but yeah, Marco Beltrami did the music, and his name seemed very familiar to me, and he's done a bunch of movies that we have done episodes on, but all his soundtracks aren't that great. He did Scream. It wasn't terrible. There's a little bit in Scream that's memorable. Scream 2, Halloween H20, 20 years later, The Crow Salvation, Scream 3, Dracula 2000, Resident Evil, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Hellboy, Triple X, State of the Union, Underworld Evolution. So he's a kind of prolific scorer of movies, but I just can't think of anything that is iconic as the original Jerry Goldsmith score.
I need to hear me some Latin. Sanguis bibimus tole corpus satani.
Yes, and Jerry Goldsmith, obviously, he did this movie. I mean, he did the original Omen. Then he also did the score for Poltergeist with the creepy kids choir. So he knew how to make a scary movie soundtrack. Yeah, just a little on the disappointing side when it came to the music. It was released on June 6, 2006.
Ooh.
6 a.m. Budget of $25 million. Box office 125. So it was profitable, but it was so panned by critics that they didn't make a sequel, which kind of, I guess, is good. I mean, this is the major gripe I have about the movie, is that I was entertained to a point, but also was kind of shrugged my shoulders when it was over. I'm like, why did they do this? But I still would be okay if they made more. Does that make sense?
Let's just keep stretching the imagination as far as we can go with this and just
Mm-hmm.
tear it out there. No, it does make sense. And again, this is carbohydrate movies. This is a frozen pizza.
Mm-hmm.
It still hits in spots.
Yeah. I just love Satan themed movies. They just hit a certain, like this is especially the original because it was made in 1976, post Exorcist, pre-satanic panic. It just kind of hit that sweet spot. You see it as a kid and it freaks you out. And if you were raised Catholic or, evangelical Christian, it's got that, all those end of the world prophecy things that scare you, as a kid.
I feel for me, it's like an overproduction.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, like let's take the blue. We're going to overblue this. We're going to do that. That the film quality and the sound quality really kind of draw out the creep factor in the original,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't get this. This one is like super polished and almost a little bit too slick.
Yeah. And the movie itself is 1 minute shorter than the original Omen movie, but the original Omen movie seems like it goes faster to me. It seems like it's more paced better, where in this one they over explain everything with the 3 comets in the sky and stuff that is exposition in the original movie is blatantly made in this one. And also they add those stupid little jump scare kind of dream sequences to kind of juice up the jump scares for a modern audience, where you didn't really need that in the original. There wasn't really any jump scares except for when Miss Baylock attacks Robert at the end of the movie. It was just the atmosphere and the creepiness that you felt was the horror part. You didn't need to be like, something jumping out at you every 5 minutes.
And then the crispy critter father with like his ripe, pimple, juicy eyeball, and he looked like somebody Hannibal Lecter would roll off into the pigs.
Yes, Mason Verger. He did look like Mason Verger or Voldemort. Yeah. So let's talk about the cast. Liev Schreiber as Robert Thorne, Julia Stiles as Catherine Thorne, and this is also one of my main complaints. Liev Schreiber, it was 39 when he made this movie. Gregory Peck was 60 when he made the original. Julia Stiles was only 25 when she made this movie, and Lee Remick was 40. So I feel like in the original, Lee Remick and Gregory Peck had more of you believed in their relationship more, and this was like their last chance to have a kid, and she'd been wanting one for a long time. There was more of a lived-in quality about them
to the relationship.
Relationship, yeah.
Whatever. Mr. Schreiber, just even as he was trying to be like, the loving guy. Oh, I care for my wife. Just creepy as fuck. That guy cannot pull off like happy dad or, elder statesman at all for the role.
Yeah. Well, Gregory Peck, when watching the original, he always said, "I love you." He always told Lee Remick or Catherine that he loved her, and you believed it. And he was more subtle an actor than Liev Schreiber. Even Liev Schreiber looked like he was too stunned to know what to feel, where you could see in Gregory Peck it was more of an internalized performance, where there was only a few times where you could see him grab his head and like he was overwhelmed with the situation or something, where I don't know, just the acting was completely different and it felt off to me. And I felt like Julia Stiles is way too young. It was like she's pretending to be older. Didn't buy it. But like we'd already talked about, Mia Farrow was surprisingly good as Miss Baylock. David Thilwis was Keith Jennings. Pete Postlethwaite was Father Brennan. Michael Gambon is Bugenhagen.
Dumbledore.
Yep. Lots of people from Harry Potter in this movie. Yeah, so that was like I said, it was not terrible. It just was unnecessary. And I think that happens a lot with remakes, is that, why do they do this? What is the purpose of remaking this movie? And, what are we getting out of it
Now,
that's different?
you have a good meal. You got a lot of leftovers. You pack it up, you freeze it because you intend to take it for lunch. You forget about it, and then there's nothing in the fridge. You see it, you defrost it. It's still kind of the food.
But just not really the same.
It's just not really the same.
Yeah.
All the ingredients are there. It just doesn't hit quite the same way as when it's fresh.
Yeah. You want to hit us with the critical consensus, which is pretty brutal?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I read the notes when you sent them the other day. All right, Rotten Tomatoes. It's got an approval rating of 26% based on 165 reviews with an average rating of 4.6 of 10. The critical consensus reads, even with the force of a classic behind it, remake fever can't hold up the hollowness of this style-drenched Omen. A Metacritic film has a weighted average score of 43 of 100 based on 34 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. James Bernardinelli commented, on every level, The Omen isn't just bad filmmaking, it's bad storytelling. He especially criticized its similarity to the original movie, which he also greatly disliked. Rolling Stone also made the latter point, not since Gus Van Sant inexplicably directed a shot-by-shot remake of Hitchcock's Psycho has a thriller been copied with so little point or impact. Roger Ebert gave the film a thumbs up and 3 stars. And 3 stars out of 4, in contrast to his negative review of the original, because he is inconsistent, moody, and fickle. Praising John Moore for letting this strong story unfold itself rather than foregrounding visual effects. Tell me the amazing visual effects in the original. There was fuck all for visual effects in the original.
Yeah, it was so realistic. I mean, they went for realism in the original movie. There wasn't, there wasn't like hit you over the head with visual effects.
Yeah. Roger
Very
Ebert.
natural.
Yeah, Roger Ebert, suck it. The Washington Post, Stephen Hunter praised the film. It's handsome in the way it's fast-moving, sleek, well-engineered, full of gooses and honks. That's how I like my Satan, full of gooses and honks.
Yeah.
Some of the casting seems a little off. Still, it works. In 2017, Slash Films listed it as one of the 15 worst horror remakes of all time, citing the direction as lifeless, the film pointless due to its fidelity to the original.
Mm-hmm. I did include a list from Rotten Tomatoes, worst remakes, not just horror movie remakes, but remakes of all time. So we'll take a little break from that to break from Omen to talk about the worst remakes of all time as soon as the webpage loads. What am I on, like a 486 or something? So a movie called One Missed Call is number 1 with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. So now makes me want to watch it if it's that bad.
It's got a great poster, though.
Yeah. The Cabin Fever remake, which I didn't even realize there was a remake from 2016, was 0%. A movie called Kite is 0%. Rollerball, which is notoriously bad, from 2002, only has 3% positive reviews. Flatliners, why did they remake Flatliners? They did in 2017, 4%. The Fog remake is number 6. Jacob's Ladder, why did they remake that one? That came out in 2019. Swept Away, that's the one with Madonna. Ugh. And Yours, Mine, and Ours. Yikes.
Dude, Taxi with Queen Latifah and Jimmy Fallon. I've actually seen that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bangkok Dangerous. I didn't even know it was a remake as well. When a Stranger Calls from 2006. Shudder.
Actually,
Martyrs.
When a Stranger Calls 2006, I actually like.
There is what is weird is there's number 15 is blank. So I wonder what number 15 was. Pulse, Get Carter, a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which is bad. We've done an episode on that one.
Yeah, number 21, Black Christmas.
Black Christmas remake, yep. The Mummy, that's the one with Tom Cruise. I've not seen that one. The Wicker Man is number 23 with Nicolas Cage, which is hilarious. The Godzilla remake in 1998 is number 24. Hellboy remake, which I have not seen with David Harbour. The Haunting, The Day the Earth Stood Still, The Grudge, They made a remake of a remake because The Grudge was a remake of a J-horror movie. Then they remade it in 2020, which I've not seen. And the Pink Panther with Steve Martin. That looks terrible.
Yeah, that was an ego project, honestly.
Yeah.
That should not have been done.
But also there is a worst horror movie remakes. And
Ooh.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 for Netflix, which I have not seen yet, which I kind of want to see, is number 14. Halloween 2007, the Rob Zombie one, is number 13.
Good.
One Missed Call in 2008. Prom Night, number 11. I've not seen the remake of Prom Night. My Bloody Valentine 3D in 2009. The Carrie remake from 2013 with, what's her name? I can't remember the girl's name. Chloe Moretz. And then Poltergeist from 2015. Haven't seen it. Stepfather from 2009. Black Christmas from 2006. House of Wax, which we've done an episode on. Not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but Fog from 2005 is number 4. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which we did last year for Remake Month. The Omen is number 2.
Yeah, I saw that.
Number 2.
What's number 1?
The Wicker Man from 2006.
The Beast.
Not the Beast.
Not the Beast.
If you want to see Nicolas Cage in a bear costume punching ladies randomly, that's your movie.
Perfect movie for you.
So let's talk about the plot a little bit more in detail. They start with the Vatican Observatory. I didn't know the Vatican had an observatory, but I guess they have one. And you see the 3 stars in alignment for the birth of the Antichrist. And of course, you get the Book of Revelation. And every time I hear somebody, let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. The number is 666. Then I'm waiting for that. Where's Bruce Dickinson, man? 666. The number of the beast.
Yes. Love that one in concert. There actually is a Vatican observatory.
Oh, really?
It's faith-inspiring science. The Vatican Observatory is an institution established by the Holy See for astronomical research and public outreach to advance the scientific understanding of our universe. And there's even a thing on here about the Pope's astronomer.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this, of course, hits that sweet spot of like biblical prophecy, end of times, all that kind of stuff. Is, I love that kind of feeling of conspiracies and all that stuff meeting together. And of course, I got to do the famous baby swap. Hey, your son died at birth, and hey, we happen to have a baby right here, perfectly good baby. Let's make a deal here. This baby.
You think about your wife. Hey, you're gonna go back and tell your wife you got no baby for her, huh?
You sound like Father Guido Sarducci.
What about the child? Yeah, he seems slightly upset about that, and it's like, oh, your wife won't be able to have any more kids, and then he really gets upset because, as everybody knows, you have to base your love for your spouse upon her fertile loins.
Yeah, and that, this is the ultimate betrayal as a husband. Is if you, hey, by the way, I'm not going to tell you, but I switched babies out as a, at birth. You don't know, but here's your baby.
You don't need to know. Daddy made some choices, baby.
This is exactly.
Daddy made some choices.
So he's a deputy ambassador at this point, Robert Thorne. And I did comment, the movie does look good. It looks slick. There's a lot of slow-mo, editing, and everything's rainy. It's fucking rainy everywhere. It's just, no matter where you go, it's just constantly raining. And Death is on loan from the Final Destination of the series. Satan's like, oh, I'm kind of busy. Death, can you do your magic over here? Nothing too ostentatious. No logging trucks or is that the Pope's astronomer?
That is the Pope's astronomer right there. That is a scary looking dude.
That is kind of Neil. If you want to Google image search the Pope's astronomer, Neil put that in our notes, and he's a that's a guy with a big hairy beard and a He kind of looks like I'll edit that part out.
Oh, he does look like that person that you referenced that you've edited out. Okay, he's disappearing because I can't have
Yes.
that face look at me.
Yeah,
Okay.
Death on Loan from the Final Destination series. There's this like gas truck explosion engineered by Death, and the senior ambassador gets taken out because apparently the air conditioning in his limo doesn't work, so he has to open the window, and then there's the whole Rube Goldberg gas truck spilling a bunch of gas into there, and then the cigarette lights him on fire, and yeah, then you get you're gonna need a growth montage after the promotion to senior ambassador to England, and everybody's got Motorola Razr phones. Remember when that was the pinnacle of cell phone technology?
Those things were great, though.
They were pretty sweet. I never had one.
I did. I got one. I loved it just because it was so thin, and in your pocket, it wasn't a big, clunky thing like the stupid ass iPhone I've got right now.
I went from a BlackBerry Pearl to an iPhone, and I've been with iPhone since then. But yeah,
Missed that tactile keyboard.
I know, a little trackball. Boop, boop, boop.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we get to Damien's 5th birthday party, and you see the Devil Dog, non-Rottweiler version. I guess they couldn't wrangle up a Rottweiler for this one.
So the devil dogs, plural. We have multiple devil dogs.
Yes. Isn't that like a dessert? Like a devil dog?
Yeah.
Like a chocolate thing?
Yeah, it's like Wreck-It Ralph. When they're like, oh, get the devil dogs. And they got the little pastries that come out.
Oh, yeah. So we get to the remake of the Nanny Takes a Jump scene, which is not as good as the original. I love the original because the nanny's like, it's all for you, Damien, and then just crashes through the window. That part is awesome.
She took quite a fall. Do you think her head would have stayed attached?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think
she
so.
She went way further than the original Nanny. Yeah.
She took a long ass drop for Damien.
Yeah, her head would have popped off. Yeah, big time. And the kid was having a birthday party on the level of like Billy Madison. There was I was expecting a clown to fall down. Hey, kids, it's me. I bet you thought that I was dead. I love me some Billy Madison. Your mom is a jackal. It's a pretty good insult. Your mother's a jackal. Hey.
She's a lumberjacker, baby.
The priest shows up and he's trying to warn Damien and gets progressively more, aggressive, and they meet, and then of course he dies in a more dramatic way than the original, with the whole stained glass and the lightning rod versus just the lightning rod in this movie.
And we knew it was coming. We've seen the photograph.
Yeah. Yes, the weird photographs. Yeah,
seen the photographs.
I thought the Damien. This is the problem. This Damien is not as good as the original Damien. He is shown to be more evil in this one because he's scowling all the time and doing creepy little things, where the other kid was just a little cheeky British boy who seemed evil. He just looked mean. He looked like a little shit, but it was more natural. He didn't look like he was scowling all the time.
So the original Damien had a cameo in this.
Yeah, he was a reporter.
Yep, when the Saudi ambassador arrives at the embassy, right after the nanny's death.
Yeah, and there's a couple of weird jump scare dream sequences that are going on in the movie with the red motif and white bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really add anything per se, except for the funny one where Robert is having a dream, and then the guy just drops the fetus, which looks like a plastic doll. He evilly drops the fetus onto the ground, and it's kind of funny. It cracked me up.
Just winging around by the cord.
Mm-hmm. And the zoo thing, the zoo scene where Catherine takes Damien to the zoo. I was expecting him to speak to a snake like Harry Potter.
Maybe that was it. I watched all the Harry Potter. We got all the Harry Potter guys here. Yeah. That just proves that Harry Potter's satanic.
No. Are you supposed to speak parcel tongue to snakes?
There's witchcraft in that movie. Did everybody like crap their pants where you were? Speaking of Harry Potter, since it played such a major role in my life this week, did people freak out about that in the Springs where you're at?
You would think, because the
You got a
Colorado
lot of
Springs
churches.
is like a buckle of the Bible Belt or whatever, and but I don't really think there was any, any
Really?
controversy. Yeah. Not that I'm aware of.
They had this real like kick-ass theater here that they took out. And I think maybe it was the second one or the third. Anyway, I'm taking my bride to go see it, and it's like a coliseum kind of thing. Like it's just a dome, and the door is barely the size of the dome. But when you walk in, you go down into the theater, and the theater is like against the dugout of part. You know what I'm saying? It's like a crater, and they put a freaking theater in there, but it's like lopsided.
Yeah.
And there are people protesting that when we went to go see it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's the San Francisco Bay Area. So I thought if we can get protesters for that out here, you probably got a lot out there.
Yeah. Not that I know of or knew of. So interesting. But the zoo scene is not as scary. The gorillas are, trying to bust through the glass and stuff like that. But it's not as scary as a freaking baboon on your car, covering your car.
Dude, a baboon ass is way scarier than any gorilla could ever be.
They're like doing a pressed fruit bowl on your on your windshield.
Just juicy baboon cheeks coming right at you. You don't want that to touch you. All shiny and red and shit. You don't want that anywhere near you.
Yes. There was Damien being scary, making a peanut butter sandwich. Put the sandwich down, Damien. Not scary.
Ma, I don't want peanut butter. Hand me the gabagool. Heavy on the ghoul.
That was good. Hold on. Yeah, so the one part, well, Megiddo is a cool name for like a city that's prophesizing bad stuff. Go to the town of Megiddo. The nanny feeding Damien strawberries was kind of unsettling.
Yeah, that was next on my list to want to talk about.
little unsettling there, a little odd. The part where he takes mom out with Scooter was funny, maybe unintentionally funny. Wasn't done as well. And the Scooter, of course, has got his little razor, and I just imagine him like hitting himself in the shins by mistake, and then crying, and then hitting the table of the leg of the table and knocking mom off. All the kids bruising their shins up with the razor Scooter.
Yeah, and the tracking shot taking her all the way to the ground.
Too much CG. It looked weird, like her face wasn't belonging to her body or something like that. Where the cool part in the original is that they built a false floor, and they brought the floor up and twisted Lee Remick towards the floor at the same time, and like did like a perspective shot where the floor was moving closer rather than her falling, and it just looks cooler.
Yeah, looked really cool.
Mm-hmm. She loses the baby, and of course Mrs. Baylock offs Catherine, but this time she puts air in her IV tube and then kills her that way, versus freaking her out and pushing her out of a window in the original.
World's friendliest satanic nanny.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, no, shh. Hold on, sweetheart. Just over soon. Give her a little kiss. Mwah.
Apparently you would have to put a lot more air into a syringe to kill somebody that way. It'll happen.
I do not want to see your fucking search history. I honestly don't.
I always look at Jamie's search history. How much air for a fatal embolism? So, if I die of an embolism, Neil,
I will have the police start looking through those browser histories.
It's recorded. As an aside, Jamie took this picture of me sleeping because we always tease each other.
Speaking of the fact that my spouse could kill me at any moment,
we did the other day. I took a picture of her sleeping because it was hilarious. She was laying on her back and her mouth was wide open. I go, "Oh, this is super funny!" So I took a picture of her. And then the next night, she takes a picture of me sleeping, and I look awful. I look just as bad as a person could look sleeping. My face is like all, my mouth is open, my teeth are all bugged out, and my belly's hanging out.
I've seen you sleep. I know. I've
was,
never seen your bride sleep, but I have seen you sleep.
It was bad. So yeah. So after Catherine dies, him and Robert and the photographer decide to go on the mystery quest to figure out the origin of Damien. And
the U.S. ambassador is just going to fucking go off on a little like whirlwind tour
with no security detail,
with no security around the Middle East. Now, I would have believed it in the 70s. All right, boys, I'm taking care of this one myself. But in 2006, no way in hell.
Yeah, no way. And they go to visit the burned up priest. And instead of just driving like they do in the original, they have to take the mysterious, kayak across the river Styx to get to the monastery where people are all jacked up with this falling snow and the super blue color correction and stuff. It was too much. They're just going for too much. It was
Giuseppe. He got a couple of bad burns. What's going to make him feel better? Let's sit his ass really close to the fire because it's a cold outside. This is not going to bother him at all. To give him something to write, what should we give him? Maybe a ballpoint, a pen? No, fuck that. Charcoal from the fire.
Yeah, maybe get him a nice dry erase board with a with a yes or a no, or maybe
Do you like to sit closer to the fire, the thing that'll fuck up your whole face?
You don't want to give you any trauma at all. Want to trigger anything in you.
It's just to keep you warm, and this is no synthetic materials in the blanket we give you. It should be okay. And plus, your skin is a scar tissue. It's so much harder to burn. And you have the same kind of nerves because you burned all those away in the terrible fire that made your eye look like a gross pimple on the chin of the bambinos that roam around the village.
Yeah, so dumb. And then they go to look for the coffins, and there's these fancy tombs with like heavy stone crypt covers, and then there's no coffins. There's just a jackal in one, and then a baby with a caved in head in the other.
Okay, and here's where my little technical gripe comes in. That baby's head would not be all fused if it's a newborn. The skull is not fused. There would be bits everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So if you looked at any baby skeleton from there, it would look like somebody fucked that baby up.
It would just be
there would be kind of pieces. Yeah. Maybe if they would done like a decapitation or something.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But that one, as soon as it just ruined it, as soon as he did it. Like, okay, there's the jackal. And I'm sorry, that jackal had to go through some shit because I looked at the size of the average jackal, which I can't tell you now because I looked at it while I was watching the movie because I was pissed, compared to the size of the average newborn, at least Caucasian newborn. That jackal would have been fucked regardless.
Would have died given birth.
Yeah. They would have been moving around. It would have just kind of been like kind of hanging out with its feet in the air, getting force fed.
So they get attacked by dogs. They got to go to Megiddo and get the magic daggers. Visit Dumbledore there. Find out these Horcruxes are. You got to stab him in the heart and go on the way out. And then, of course, the Robert throws the daggers away, and then the photographer guy Jennings goes and gets him, and then he gets decapped from a swinging sign. It was kind of cool.
Props to Thorne, though. The average person would have run over to get those knives, going like, I can't. Oh my God, there's so much blood everywhere. The head's on the ground looking at you. It's still blinking. Sorry, I'll take the knives. I swear. I'm sorry. I don't want to vomit on your corpse as you bleed all over the place.
Yeah. So Robert's on his way back. He's got to check the kid's head to make sure he's got the little 666 birthmarks. And they have the world's biggest pantry. Do you know how big that pantry was?
And then the priest got the priest had the 666 too. So what were they trying to insinuate with that? That he was a
servant of the devil as well.
It's like, hey, we're going to brand you inner thigh. You know what? Maybe I don't want to serve the devil so much. That's a sensitive area. Inner thigh. You're
supposed to 666 birthmark on your taint, and we're going to put it there.
Could you imagine that, like going in and trying to convince all the other Satanists, like, oh, you're a priest. Oh, you're the enemy. Like, hold on a second. You got to flop down and like whip your gooch for everybody to take a look. Like, look right here, right between the sack and the hole. Worship Satan. On hot days, it's even harder because you got to scoop under and lift.
Mm.
That's not the best way. Satan needs to organize better. That's not the smartest way to delineate who your servants are.
Yeah. So of course the big jump scare, and this actually made Jamie jump, was when Robert was checking for the birthmark on Damien, and he sees it, and then Miss Blaylock attacks him. Jamie was like looking at her iPad, and she's like, "Ah!" threw her iPad up in the air. Crank me up.
She was the little nanny that could, man. Nothing would stop her short of a 2,000-pound machine gunning at her like 35, 40 miles an hour. Nothing would stop that lady. She was powered by brimstone.
Mm-hmm. She'd get run over. That was kind of cool. Then he's Tokyo drifting all the way to the to the church
with that weird ass look on his face too.
Yeah. Then of course, just like the other one, he gets shot before he can kill Damien, and Damien is taken care of by, I guess, the godparents, which would be the president, because he was they said it in the throwaway line that that Robert was the godson of the current president. That's how he got the position at the embassy or whatever.
Nepotism in politics? No. That would never happen.
At the end, like I said, it wasn't horrible, but it was unnecessary. But I would have watched a sequel if they made one. that's the completist in me. I would have, not really have been that disappointed. So that's the Omen. If you're an Omen fan and you enjoy this type of movie, I suggest you watch it. If you have seen the original, that's all you need to watch. You don't really need to watch this one. Unless you want to, unless you got an hour and 40 minutes to kill and you like movies about the devil and you want to watch this. But I did include Vulture Magazine's 21 horror remakes that you should actually watch. And the 1920 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I didn't even know that was a remake. 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that is a good one with Donald Sutherland and Leonard Nimoy. That's a pretty good one. The Thing 82, obviously.
So good.
One of the greatest horror movies of all time. The Fly from 86, also included in one of the greatest horror movies of all time. We've done episodes on both The Thing and The Fly. Check those out. Cape Fear from 1991. I just, every time I see Cape Fear, I think of the Simpsons episode where it's exactly like a remake of Cape Fear where they try to get away from Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
It's an amazing one. The 2002 remake of The Ring is actually one of the best PG-13 horror movies there is. It's really good. We should probably do that eventually. Amityville Horror remake with Ryan Reynolds. I have not seen that one.
Nope.
We need to do the original. Halloween 2007. One list says it's one of the worst, and this one says it's one of the best. I'm still trying to decide whether we need to do this for Halloween season.
What about Rosemary's Baby?
Was there a remake for Rosemary's Baby?
I don't know. I feel like there was.
100%. I bet there was. Quarantine from 2008. If you've seen the Spanish horror movie Wreck, that is really, really good. Let Me In, which is a sequel or a remake of Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In is amazing. I have not seen this one. Sorority Row. I think I'll check that one out because I do love me a good slasher movie. The Crazies from 2010 is actually pretty good. It's a remake of the George Romero 73 movie. I Spit on Your Grave from 2010. I've actually seen. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's not. It's as far as remakes goes, it's better than the original. And it's pretty brutal, but yeah. Piranha 3D, which is actually going to be a movie that we're doing this month. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Fright Night from 2011, which I still have never seen, with Colin Farrell. Silent House, I've not seen that one. Evil Dead, the 2013 remake, I'm sure we'll get to eventually. That's a good one. We Are What We Are, have not seen that one. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, I've seen the original, but I'm not the remake. Suspiria 2017, still have not seen it. I just don't know if I am or not. I'm going to or not. And Hellraiser 2022, which we're also going to do this month. So, yeah.
I liked that one. So we're speaking of like satanic movies. Was it The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Yeah.
That's a good one. The Prophecy, Christopher Walken.
Yep.
That's a good one. Have you seen The Witch?
Yes.
What'd you think?
Awesome.
Okay,
Slow
great.
paced, but it was good.
Yeah, slow paced. I've started watching it, but I didn't finish it because I came here to talk to you about this shit.
Mm-hmm. Really good. Very atmospheric.
Yeah.
Very,
that goat stealing the show.
Black Phillip. Yep. Very early Anna Taylor-Joy appearance in that one. So, yeah. But this month is remake month, so I'll let you know what we're going to do for the rest of the remake month as soon as my Google Drive. You've got mail. I think I need to get a new computer. This one's starting to slow down on me. Slow down on me. So we're doing the Omen. The remake of The Night of the Demons was actually kind of fun. From 2009 will be our next episode. Piranha 3D, Hellraiser 22, then Hellraiser 2022, and then 13 Ghosts will be our remake month schedule. I'm looking forward to seeing the Hellraiser one. I haven't seen that one yet. So
I really think you'll like it. It was a fresh spin on the Cenobites, and they opened it up to do sequels, which I had hoped they were going to do if they were done as well as this one. But it does the whole, even though I don't think, Clive Barker had specifically much to do with the film, it does have that whole dark plotting Clive Barker kind of vibe to the film.
Yeah.
Where everybody, no matter what you're doing or where they're at, they're a little bit moist.
Yes. Frank from the original one was always moist looking.
Don't look at me. It's Frank.
Julia.
So, yeah. The Omen.
I can't say I hated it.
Didn't hate it, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't different enough to really justify its existence.
Yeah.
Especially some of the dialogue was exactly lifted from the original movie, and some of the shots, and it was just not different enough to say,
we're going to go have some Italian food. Oh, fantastic. I really am in the mood for Italian food. Where are we going to go? Oh, this restaurant is great. Very authentic. You'll love it. You're like, God, I am so geared up for some Italian food right now. That's going to be great. Oh, the Olive Garden. All right. Well,
when you're there, your family, though.
When you're there, your family. I'll have some bread. I'll have all I want for the breadsticks and a bunch of salad. Help take it all out. But it's it's not bad. It's not great. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. It's filling.
Yes.
All right. So check us out on The Sisters Who've Seen It this week. Also, if you want to send us an email, rvspodcast222@gmail.com. And one other thing I just added, if you are listening to the podcast from our website, from the Buzzsprout website, you can send us a text message through that website with any suggestions or comments or anything about the episode. It's a new feature they added, and I just turned it on, so we'll see if that does anything.
Sweet. And of course, please give Katie and Bridget a listen on Sisters Who've Seen It. A little different spin in the way we do things. I love because occasionally they'll catch me off guard and just say some absolutely hilarious shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm usually listening with my headphones in, so I look like I'm having a
some of my favorites ones that they did a really good episode on Greece that really cracked me up. They've done quite a few. Their Lake Placid episode's pretty solid. They had their dad on that one.
Yeah,
they've do a lot of funny stuff, and they're just like us. They started their podcast during the pandemic and just something to do, and then they've carried on with it just like we have. So,
yep. I just listened to their Children of the Corn, and then they did Teeth. So that one's going to be try to set the mood for Tuesday as I ride into work. I'm going to be listening to Teeth. Interesting film. I can't wait to hear their take on this.
Yep. You can buy us a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com. Look up the Retro Video Store. We are on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. So check us out. And once again, thank you so much for listening. We had a hell of a download month in May so far. So thanks a lot.
Even with all the shitty movies we watched. Everybody have a good week.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store Podcast.